Hello, welcome to today's episode of Juicing the Numbers, Statistics and Sports podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Tracy.
And I'm your other host, Corwin.
And we're recording this on December 29th, 2019, one of the last few days you can say that year and have it still be current. And the NFL playoff picture has just about clarified itself. We're currently, it's 9:17 p.m. here on the East Coast, so the final game of the regular season is happening, which does technically have playoff implications, but it's relatively minor as far as its impact. But we'll get into that as we get into the entirety of what the NFL playoffs will look like this year.
Yeah.
You ready, Corwin?
Yeah, let's jump into it.
All right, well, let's start with the AFC since it's already been determined. As of right now, the teams by seeding are the Ravens at 14-2. They are the first seed. Second seed, the Chiefs, 12-4. Third seed is the Patriots, also at 12-4. Fourth seed is the Texans, 10-6. The fifth seed is the Bills, 10-6. The sixth seed is the Titans, 9-7. That makes for the Chiefs and Ravens having a first round bye. The Titans will play in Foxborough against the Patriots, and the Bills will play in Houston against the Texans.
How does it make you feel that the Patriots do not have a bye for the first time in a decade?
All right, well, first and foremost, fuck them. Fuck them to death. Second off, I feel like if there was a year that this was actually going to matter for the Patriots, this is that year. Brady looks not bad, but worn a lot more than he's ever looked worn this late into the season. And look, do I think that Titans are going to give him a hard time? I mean, probably not. But I think it's important that the Patriots will have to play one more game this year. This is a year where they really, really could have used a bye, and they're not getting it.
Mm-hmm. Their defense is honestly the best that it's been
since early Brady years.
Yeah, since, for as long as I've been watching football, and this is by far the worst Tom Brady's looked in that entire time. So a first round bye would have absolutely been huge for them. I don't know how much they're going to struggle in this matchup. I mean, the Titans have become a very different team since Ryan Tannehill has taken over. We'll see what happens with, NFL leading rusher Derrick Henry up against his Patriots defense and a, middle of the pack Titans defense up against a pretty mediocre Patriots offense. So I think this is going to be a much better matchup than this would be on paper. But it should be exciting regardless.
Yeah, I mean, these two teams faced off 2 years ago in the playoffs, was it? Possibly. With that Mariota own pass end reception. You know the one I'm talking about? Where it got deflected back at him and then he just ran it in for a touchdown.
Oh, yeah. I do remember that.
That was like 2 years ago, I think. I'm so bad with remembering which playoffs are which for football. But that was a Titans team that were mildly competitive against the Patriots. Not great, but they tried their hardest. And this Titans team feels better, but it's also the Patriots, and it's tough to ever feel good against the Patriots. So Tannehill has done a lot this year. He's played in 11 games. He started 9 of them. His record this season, which take it for what you will, 6-3. A 70.7% completion percent, which is by far the best of his career. He has 2,544 yards in 11 games, only 9 of which as a starter. That's pretty fucking good. He would have almost certainly got to 4,000 at that rate if he had played a full season.
Which would have been very exciting to see, especially coming from, a very run-heavy Titans team.
Yeah, just for reference, he played 11 games last year as the Miami Dolphins quarterback, same amount of games, although all 11 of them were as starters as compared to only 9 of them for this year. And he had 1,979 yards and he has 2,544 yards this year. 600-yard difference, which is huge.
See what it's like when you don't play for Adam Gase?
Yeah. He has 20 touchdowns on 6 interceptions. He's averaging, get this. He leads the league in these next categories. Yards per attempt, average adjusted yards per attempt, yards per completion, and quarterback rating, and net yards per pass attempt.
Just saying, those are all of the categories you want to lead in.
Yeah, the only ones he's not actively leading the league in right now are yards per game, QBR, and then a few other not as important ones. For reference, his yards per attempt, 9.6. Adjusted yards per attempt, 10.1. Yards per completion, 13.5. He has posted a 116.5 quarterback rating. Again, by far the best of his career. And his net yards per attempt is 7.85. This is a tidy fucking season for Ryan Tannehill.
I know we've talked about this in the last episode, but I will be amazed if he can keep this up next year. Not because I don't believe in Ryan Tannehill, just it's a very late in his career to really be breaking out for the first time, because we haven't seen this kind of play from him yet.
Yeah, this feels almost like Nick Foles 2 years ago when the Eagles won the Super Bowl on the back of his phenomenal play. Except Nick Foles actually was good, like off and on throughout his career, whereas Ryan Tannehill, he never was bad, but he was always like a Jameis Winston. He was always like, look, he could be better.
He definitely always could have been better. I feel like this is different somehow from Nick Foles. I don't know why it would be different, but I feel like it is, just because
Nick Foles, I think, always showed that he could be something.
Right.
And you'd get a game every now and then where you really saw it.
That's seven
touchdowns. Yep. Or there was a weird season where he like led the league in completion percentage or some shit. Like he's had really, really good stretches, but just never kind of got all the way there. So seeing him be on for like 4 games, which is essentially all he played. Maybe it was 5 because he played the 3 playoff games and I think maybe the last 2 games of the season or some shit like that. It wasn't a lot. Point being, it wasn't a lot. You kind of got it, you know? Like it's like, yeah, he's not great, but he can be in short periods, and here he is. Whereas Tannehill was always just consistently mildly better than average / average, to the point where like you wanted to believe he could take a step up, but just never quite did.
And I feel like another reason why this is different is this is his first time with this new team. It's not like Foles where he was up and down while playing for the Rams, up and down while playing for the Eagles, mostly down while playing for the Jaguars. Tannehill was always kind of like, he showed promise, but was never anything on the Dolphins. And then the second he jumps over to the Titans, he looks like a completely different player.
Yeah. It's tough to put your finger on. I don't know. Do you have a better comparison to Foles than Foles? Because Foles feels like the closest I can get, but
like I don't remember any recent quarterbacks that made this huge jump once they got traded to a new team. You know?
Yeah.
Because
I don't know.
Quarterbacks usually don't change teams unless they're really bad. And once they get re-signed from where they were drafted, they usually don't improve because they're usually relegated to a second string kind of guy. They're either good to begin with and get signed in free agency to a big deal, or they suck and don't get re-signed, and then whoever signs them turns them into a backup, kind of like how he started his career in Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm just struggling to find something else to really say. It just feels so. It feels like the thing we're going to start comparing it to. We're going to be looking for another Ryan Tannehill season out of somebody.
Right. I'm definitely not going to put money on this next year, or like money on him being good, because
No, I wouldn't.
fuck trying to guess that.
Yeah, that's absolutely not worth it. All right, let's just jump over to our next for sure wild card matchup, or I guess playoff matchup. The Bills and the Texans.
Yeah,
This is going to be weird.
I could not say it better myself. Like, they're two 10-6 teams who both had great seasons, but it's like I'm not excited for this game at all.
I'm
like,
interested.
Yeah, like the Bills have a good defense. The Texans sometimes have a good offense. And like, I don't even know how these two teams are going to match up. It's weird all around.
That it certainly is. I guess I would say if we're looking at potential, their defenses I think are relatively equal, maybe small edge to the Bills.
Okay.
Their offensive potential, humongous edge to the Texans. Because that offense is just Deshaun Watson is just so comically better at his position than Josh Allen is at his. Not to mention the Texans have wide receivers and the Bills have Cole Beasley.
They have Dawson Knox. He's a big he's a big wide receiver, you know.
I didn't even know who that was.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't even know if he's like still healthy, if he's still starting for them. I just know he was really their only bright spot receiving the ball earlier this year. So I'm going to roll with it.
All right. Let me ask you this, because I'm not really sure how much creative things I have to say about this matchup. Do you think whichever team wins has a chance against either of the teams on a bye?
Not really. I think the Texans might have a chance against the Chiefs. I think the Bills have a slightly lower chance against the Chiefs. But the Chiefs have kind of really pulled it together as of late, so I really don't think they will. Granted, it's the NFL playoffs and any fucking thing can happen, but
yeah,
I think the Ravens and the Chiefs are both significantly better than the rest of this field.
The Ravens in particular. I mean, my goodness, 14-2.
Oh
what a goddamn season. Jesus Christ.
Even with RG3 at the helm without Lamar Jackson, they looked like their run game just looked unstoppable against a very good Steelers defense. So who fucking knows how that's going to go down. Excuse me.
And I guess we can save the teams on a bye. Projecting them out seems kind of pointless for right now. So let's leave the AFC alone for a moment. Let's jump on over to the NFC. Our teams in order of seeding: first seed, the Green Bay Packers at 13-3. Second seed, the Saints, also 13-3. The third seed, the 49ers, whom again, as of recording this, they are 12-3. They are they currently winning? Last I checked, they were.
They are up 13-0.
Yes, 13 zilch. So we'll 12-3 with the potential to be 13-3, which again will
Oh my God,
possibly change our seeding. Don't worry about it. Our fourth seed, pointlessly, is the Eagles at 9-7. Our fifth seed, the Seattle Seahawks at 11-4, and our sixth seed, the Minnesota Vikings at 10-6. This is subject to change, of course, if the 49ers end up winning today, which again, it looks likely that they will. They will swap seeds with the Packers. The Packers will become the third seed, and the Niners will become the first seed. I believe that sounds right. Anyway,
I fully believe that's how that would go down.
Yeah. So let's take it under its current situation, which says that the Niners will be the third seed, and then we'll just do this a second time with the that changing around. All right, Vikings, Niners.
I think this is going to be a fantastic game. But I really don't have faith in Kirk Cousins, and I really am not sure how healthy the running backs are going to be for the Vikings. if they're going with Mike Boone, it's going to be an exciting game, but it probably won't mean the Vikings are going to come out with a victory. I would solidly put the 49ers at a major advantage there.
Oh, I would certainly as well. This Niners team has been a fascinating storyline. They've been just so sure-handed in almost all of their games. And they've come out of the season looking absolutely phenomenal in damn near every move that they've made. Coaching wise, player personnel wise, Jesus. Such a complete team, top to bottom. Whereas the Vikings, they've looked really good in certain stretches, especially recently, but I also don't have a lot of faith in Kirk Cousins. And as tacky as it sounds, Kirk Cousins on primetime is terrible. So it makes you wonder how great he's going to handle high pressure situations, which again, usually wouldn't matter in most sports, but football is weird. The sample sizes are super small that you kind of have to take something out of something. And you know what? Kirk Cousins is a little bitch. So fuck him.
Honestly, that is how I would describe Kirk Cousins.
He is such a little bitch. So yeah, I'd have to say Niners, especially with home field here, you know, I give it to them pretty readily.
This spring, I really want to do a breakdown episode on how John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan rebuilt this team after Harbaugh left. Well, I guess after everything kind of fell apart there. Yeah, Chip Kelly.
He was the last one, right?
Was it Kelly before or after Tom Sula? Yeah, no, because Tom Sula replaced Harbaugh. That was a train wreck that lasted a season, and I guess they did bring in Chip Kelly after that.
They did, because that was his last NFL coaching job before he went back to college.
Yeah, which also has been a train wreck.
Yeah, really.
But yeah,
everyone's like, "Oh, he's such a good college
fun
coach."
Episode to
dicks
do
in college. Yeah, that would be fascinating.
But yeah, 49ers all the way. Okay, I mean, the fact that they should be the 1 seed playing against the 6 seed Vikings. I mean, come on.
Hey, the 6 seed Vikings, who are doing better than the 4th seed, as we will discuss.
Mm-hmm.
Our next matchup is the Eagles hosting the Seattle Seahawks. What make you of this?
I don't think the Eagles have a chance.
Fucking
I really don't.
No.
They are so hurt. There was a line to get into their medical tent today. Did you know that?
No.
Players had to wait outside the medical tent before they could get in because so many people were hurt.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I really want that to be 100% true. Like, I didn't see it in the broadcast, but I saw people tweeting about it. I really, really want that to be true.
That's amazing. Yeah, the Eagles have no business being in the playoffs, and they have no business hosting a playoff game. And here they are doing both of those things.
Well, would you rather have the Cowboys here?
No, I'd rather the NFC East just not get a representative team in the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Ah, man, what would be if we just had like a third wild card instead of the Eagles? Who would we have?
Standings wise, it would be. I have the standings up in front of me. Oh no, I changed it to the scores. Josh, why'd you do that? I have no idea.
Let's just say it's the Rams. They'd be a more fun team.
It would be, I guess. Did the Rams win today?
Don't know. Didn't watch their game.
I didn't watch their game either. Damn it. One of us should have done that. Oh, I have the scores up too. You know, I prepped and I don't even look at it.
What other
the Rams did win today.
9 or 10 win.
They did win today. They were 9-7 as well. They were the only other 9-7 team.
So it would be the Rams.
Yeah. Which I would take in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah. Hell, I'd take the Cowboys over the Eagles. They at least have a chance to be good. I mean, granted, the Eagles have a chance to be good, but man, they're just so hurt.
Only technically.
I mean, Russell Wilson, Tyler Lockett, the Seahawks, everything involved there. Yeah. I think it might be a competitive game if Carson Wentz is playing well and they get some players back, but definitely putting my money on the Seahawks.
I just can't. All right, here's the teams that the Eagles have beat this. Wait, the 2018? Why would it be
No.
20? Who cares about 2018? Give me current season, stupid Pro Football Reference. All right, here's the teams that the Eagles have beat this season in order: the Redskins, the Packers, the Jets, the Bills, the Bears, an OT win against the Giants, the Redskins, the Cowboys, and they just beat the Giants again today.
So
The
not a
teams that
single playoff team.
the Packers. That's the only team.
Sorry.
And the Bills. Sorry, there's two. And then everyone else, they swept the Giants. They swept the Redskins. Did they sweep the Cowboys? No, they split with the Cowboys. It's not pretty. Teams that they've lost to this season: the Falcons when they were bad, followed immediately by the Lions, the Minnesota Vikings, the Dallas Cowboys, the New England Patriots, the Seattle Seahawks, whom they are playing, the Miami Dolphins. Oof. So they've lost to some awful teams and some competitive teams. They're not good.
No, they really aren't that good.
This is not good. They're going to do very poorly.
So you want to just move on from this matchup?
Yeah, let's actually loop back around because there is a chance, a very likely chance at that the Niners do not play the Vikings, in which case the Packers will. What make you of that matchup?
Exact same scenario.
Yeah, nothing changes on my end either.
It's funny how, like, to start the season, we were so concerned about the Packers offense, and even today they didn't look fantastic. But man, they just are such a better team than they were to start the season, and I really think they could beat any team here. Like the Seahawks, I don't think they could beat the Saints or the Packers or the 49ers, the 49ers could probably beat anyone else in the field. The Vikings definitely couldn't, but the Packers, man, like they just are a complete football team.
Yeah, for once it's not Aaron Rodgers carrying the team.
Right?
Like,
I mean, I have no doubt that he still could, but
oh, for sure. But he doesn't need to.
Doesn't have that pressure. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it really is a difference to watch. All right, Corwin, what would you think if I told you that the 5 worst teams in the AFC, if I told you this at the beginning of the season, that at the end of the season, the 5 worst teams in the AFC, would be in order of worst to least worst, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Miami Dolphins, the Los Angeles Chargers, the Cleveland Browns, and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I would not be surprised by 4 of those teams.
All right, I would have been surprised by the Chargers. I think that's the team that you would have been surprised by too.
Yeah.
I would be mildly surprised by the Browns.
I will say I would be mildly surprised.
Yeah, so like 1.5.
If you ask me if I would be surprised if the Browns finished bottom 5, I'd be like, they are the Browns. Like, yeah, sure, this team's very different, but they are the Browns. But if you said the Chargers would be like the 3rd worst team in the AFC, I would have laughed. And
right with the same record as Miami.
Yeah, for real. If you told me those 2 teams would have the same record, I would ask I'd ask a lot of questions. I don't know how that could have turned out.
Yeah. Ugh. All right. What if I had told you at the beginning of the season that at the end of the season, the 5 worst teams in the NFC would be, in order from worst to least worst, the Washington Redskins, the Detroit Lions, the New York Giants, the Carolina Panthers, and the Arizona Cardinals.
No surprises whatsoever.
Yeah, especially if you knew that Cam Newton wasn't going to play this year,
right? That would be the one.
No surprise. Yeah, this is exactly how you would have drawn it up.
It's not. It's actually really funny how little surprises there were. I mean, the Rams were close to having a very surprising season. They were able to pull it out, but it would be hilarious.
All right, now what's more surprising? Actually, I'm going to ask you about every 7-9 team in the AFC because it's fascinating.
Sure.
How surprised are you that the Denver Broncos finished 7-9?
With Joe Flacco leading the way to start the season, not too surprised.
I'm surprised they won that many games. I would have pegged them for fewer.
Yeah, actually, you know what? That's not a bad comment. Yeah.
Yeah. Following up with that, how surprised are you that Oakland managed to win 7 games?
Honestly, less surprised. I think they had a more talented roster than the Broncos to start the season.
Actually, you know what? That's probably fair. How surprised are you that the Indianapolis Colts finished 7-9?
Before or after? Actually, I would have been surprised either way. If I thought Andrew Luck was playing and they got 7 wins, I would have been amazed. If I thought Andrew Luck, or if this was after we knew Andrew Luck was retiring, honestly, probably 7-9 would be where I would put them with Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, honestly, that one's not. Yeah, that one's not outrageous. How surprised are you that the Jets finished 7-9?
Mightily surprised. Didn't they go like 6-2 over the last 8 weeks?
Yeah, they fucking crushed it these last 2 weeks. It is startling.
Bullshit, dude.
Why is that bullshit?
Because you beat the Steelers. If you went 5-3 and didn't beat the Steelers, I'd be like, wow, good on the Jets. I love this. But you beat the Steelers, so fuck you.
Oh, you guys would have gotten absolutely butt fucked in the playoffs, and you know it.
Oh, 100%. No doubt.
Yeah, this is an interesting crop of teams. These are all, I mean, granted, those middle teams, the Raiders and the Colts, do have good reason to suspect that they may have been able to go 7-9, but the Broncos managing to eke out 7 games is pretty surprising. Same with the Jets, especially at how the way their season started, which was comical at best, a train wreck at worst. Real quick, the Jets in their since week 10 went 6-2. The Jets from weeks 1 through 9 were 1-7.
That's really bad.
Yep, the Jets lost to the Bills, Browns, Patriots bye week, and the Eagles. Yes, they lost to the bye week. And then they beat the Cowboys because everyone should. And then they lost to the Pats, Jags, and Dolphins before beating the Giants, Redskins, and Raiders in succession, losing to the Bengals, beating the Dolphins, losing to the Ravens, as everyone should, and then beating the Steelers and the Bills. Fucking weird season. But the Jets only lost one. When did Sam Darnold come back? I think he came back for the Cowboys. So they only lost 4, 5, 6 games that Darnold started. The other 3 were not against him. It's pretty interesting.
That is.
Yeah.
Have your opinions on Adam Gase changed?
Oh, fuck no. Get him out of here.
There's no way that's going to happen, though.
Which just makes no sense. But
you went 6-2 over the last 8 games. As much as I despise Adam Gase, as much as anyone else, I think that was a redundant sentence, but whatever. There's no way he's gone.
I know, but it still hurts.
He absolutely should be. I'm with you on that, but I don't know how they fire him.
Whatever. I'm upset. It's not going to change, and whatever. Speaking of coach firings, we've had 2 more in the last few days. Yesterday, it was announced that who was it announced yesterday? Doug Marrone. Doug Marrone was announced yesterday that he will not be, or I should say, not him. The Jaguars announced that Doug Marrone will no longer be a coach.
Hey guys, I just got fired.
Just tweeting out, just to let you guys know, tomorrow's my last day. Bye. He will not be coming back to coach the Jaguars next season, and it got announced today that Freddie Kitchens was also canned. Both of these moves make a lot of sense.
Yeah. Doug Marrone, I mean, what do you want to say about the Jags this year? Just disappointment after disappointment. Gardner Minshew was Gardner Minshew and Leonard Fournette were really the only two bright spots this whole season for them. The defense was ugly once again. Yeah, I mean, they got to bring in an offensive guy here, I think, in my mind. Otherwise, I don't know what you do with Gardner Minshew and Nick Foles. So I'm just really glad I don't have to make that decision between Gardner Minshew and Nick Foles, because no matter what decision is made, a lot of people are going to think it's wrong.
Yeah, very much so a no-win.
Freddie Kitchens, I think, was a much easier choice to move on from, just because of how disastrous. I feel like I'm still not saying that right. Disaster. How horrible this season has been for the Browns.
Yeah, and not just on the field. I mean, seeing the anger and frustration out of the wide receivers who, I mean, those are two very, very talented players that are looking quite unhappy. Not to mention the Myles Garrett situation and the not even to say that what happened is a result of Freddie Kitchens, but the fact that like you had Baker Mayfield coming out against it very publicly, which you can say whether or not you believe that's the right thing, but you also have to acknowledge either way that it's going to have locker room implications.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a reason players don't usually voice their opinions on these things publicly, because it complicates what happens in the locker room.
And boy, was that locker room a disaster this year.
Exactly. So I don't know what Freddie Kitchens brought to the table. And I'm really willing to bet that there's a lot of Browns front office members who probably wish that they went with Greg Williams instead. Surprisingly.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I am all aboard the fuck Greg Williams train. Definitely not a fan of his. I think they should have gone with an outside hire instead. But I don't know. I feel like Freddie Kitchens or Greg Williams is like a rock in a hard place, you know?
Yeah, I mean more so from the perspective of because they were between the two, you know. And right. Greg Williams managed to thrive in New York, posting a top 10 ranked defense, maybe top 5 after the game that they played today. Whereas the Browns fucking sucked.
Yes, they did.
So, yeah, the Jets, at least they didn't suffer at least in my recollection, didn't suffer too many hard fuckings. I know that the Pats gave us one. Their games haven't given up 30 or more points. The Pats, the Eagles, the Pats, and the Ravens. That's it.
That's not too bad.
No, and those are outside the Eagles. Those are the teams you would expect.
Yeah, I definitely would have expected that. You know, I dislike Greg Williams for honestly, for being who he is. But he does seem to be able to get the job done on the field. I mean, he's had success in New Orleans. He's had some success in St. Louis, I guess LA when they moved there. He had some success with the Browns. It's just, I don't know if I'd want a man with his character being the head coach of my football team, you know?
I understand as well. But somehow the people keep getting hired that you would be like, wow, well, he's awful. How did that happen? Boys Club.
So all about the Boys Club.
Yeah. Oh, fucking well.
Speaking of teams that are heavily involved in this boy club, the Washington Redskins are believed to have found a new coach.
Who is it, buddy?
It's Ron Rivera. Actually, also a member of the Boys Club, but should be hired on merit.
Yeah, he's actually genuinely good and deserves a shot somewhere else.
This kind of has to go hand in hand with the news that Bruce Allen, the GM and president of football operations for the Redskins, has been not let go, but he's been removed from those specific responsibilities, which I don't know how to put this, but it's good and bad news. Like, it's good that he's no longer in charge of personnel decisions and things like that. But it's bad that they still, like, Dan Snyder still won't fire him, and he's still going to be involved with that front office. Because, I mean, if you think about it, if you take a CEO and say, all right, you're now a mid-level manager, do you think that CEO is going to be able to get away with a hell of a lot more and be a lot more influential than just some random mid-level manager?
No.
No?
Yes. Sorry, I zoned out for a second there.
Yeah, no, that's totally fine.
I pulled the Corwin.
You totally got me off guard, and I was so confused.
I
Which is totally fine. Because
I knew it was a yes or no question, so I had a 50-50 shot.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, fucking Bruce Allen's, he's basically, I don't know the name because I haven't seen The Lord of the Rings in a while, but he's basically that sneaky dude. Who
Smeagol?
like, no, the guy who like is like in the ear of the king of Gondor or Rohan.
Oh, that fucking guy. I don't know his name
Yeah,
either.
it's definitely Gondor because he gets thrown off the fucking ledge there. Whatever.
No, there was you're thinking about the this is such a deep dive. You're thinking about the king that was being held down power-wise by that guy who was actually working with Sauron. The guy in Gondor, that guy wasn't actually the king because there was no king. He was like a steward kind of dude who was assuming responsibilities, and he got thrown down later. But you're thinking about the dude, the Riders of Rohan. Rohan. You're thinking about the guy whispering in the ear of that king over there.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. What?
Man, it's been so long since I've seen Lord of the Rings.
Love those fucking movies.
They're so perfect, but it's like one of those things. It's like the original Star Wars trilogy. Like, I kind of have to watch all three back to back to back. And boy, that's just so much time.
It just feels so good, though.
Yeah, that's very true.
I want to take. There's so many things I want to talk about football wise with this week. I want to talk about Jameis Winston, but real quick. I'm sorry, Jameis, but we'll save it for after this. As of right now, we have the first 17 picks in the NFL draft locked in. Would you like to hear them?
Absolutely.
All right. Going top down, in the 2020 draft, the first team picking will be the Cincinnati Bengals, followed by the Washington Redskins, the Detroit Lions, the New York Giants, the Miami Dolphins. Those are your top five. Let's start with that. What do you think?
It's going to be an exciting draft, I feel like, because the Bengals are definitely going to go with Joe Burrow, unless some major news happens on that front. It's going to be Joe Burrow at 1, which means the Redskins are almost certainly going to go Chase Young at 2. And then it's kind of, the Lions and the Giants don't need quarterbacks. The Dolphins do. The Chargers do. Spoiler alert, the Chargers are at 6. They both do. So we might see some trades in the top 5 to see people try to jump in front of the Dolphins or the Chargers or both. It should be exciting regardless. I could see both the Lions or the Giants wanting to trade back. There are definitely teams, in the top 17, we're going to say, that should move up for a quarterback. So it should be pretty fucking exciting.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting for basically all the reasons you already detailed, but we're going to see some major needs addressed, and it's going to be interesting to see because the teams that are a little bit further down in the draft order, they're so on the bubble. They're so close that this could be a good draft for them to think about being aggressive with their picks and trading up. So let's get a little bit further down. 6 through 10, we have the LA Chargers, the Carolina Panthers, the Arizona Cardinals, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and rounding it out, number 10, the Cleveland Browns. What make you of this section of the draft?
I'm very happy that the Browns were still able to get themselves a top 10 pick because that's where they belong. Chargers being in a prime spot to take a quarterback is huge. That's great for them because, I mean, we've definitely seen Phillip Rivers. This has been the end for him. Yeah, I mean, the Panthers, the Cards, the Jags, there's definitely going to be, I mean, I don't think any of those guys are, I don't know, like the Panthers or the Jags could trade up for a quarterback. They're kind of close enough to the top, to 3 or 4 with the Lions or Giants to not have to give up too much, excuse me. I don't know, like it'll definitely be exciting because there's definitely players that would fill major needs that aren't quarterbacks. There's so much fluidity here that could happen that it's hard to say one way or the other what's going to go down.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a very volatile draft at all stages.
Hopefully.
God, I love chaos.
Right.
It makes it so tough to predict because you expect almost every team to move, or at least you could see it happen based on the needs that they have, that they're going to address, that the teams in front and behind them are going to address, competition for certain players. It's going to be fucking fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and I'll round out the picks we have locked in. Number 11, the New York Jets, followed by the Oakland Raiders, the Indianapolis Colts, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Denver Broncos, the Atlanta Falcons, and the Dallas Cowboys. Actually, no, we have the top 20. Sorry, my bad. I'll just finish it out. Following that is the Miami Dolphins again via the Pittsburgh Steelers. Following them, we have the Oakland Raiders again via the Chicago Bears. I was about to say Bulls. And following them is the Jacksonville Jaguars via the LA Rams.
I think we could now officially say that the Steelers won the trade with the Dolphins for Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Honestly, yeah.
I'm so happy that it worked out. There was so much doubt there. Oof, I'm so happy it worked out. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple teams in there that might want to go for a quarterback. I don't know. I mean, again, like it's hard to say this far out. I mean, it's not even January yet. It's way too early to be talking specific prospects, but either way, there should be a ton of good value here this late in the draft. So, yeah.
What make you of Miami's 3 first-round picks, one of which is in the top 5? This gives them a lot of room to move around. I'm not sure they need to. They're so well positioned, but
I really think they should just hold put at 5. Unless they want to trade like a day 2 pick to move up a pick or two to make sure they get the right quarterback. I think that would be huge. I would be upset if they moved one of their first rounders to do so. Unless, something major happens, Tua ends up being perfectly healthy and kills it in the pre-draft process, whatever it may be. They really have just so much ammunition to just completely revitalize that team. It should be good shit for sure.
The Raiders also the holder of multiple first-round picks. They have 2, 12 and 19, which also could potentially be enough ammunition to move up here in the draft. Depending on what the Giants think of what's his name? God damn it. Daniel Jones. They could possibly be enticed to move on down. Give Oakland, if Oakland's ready to move on from fucking, what's his name? Their quarterback?
Derek Carr.
Derek Carr. I could see there's potential for that. Detroit also not in need of a quarterback. I guess, since Matt Stafford's still there, and I assume they still like him. Do you see Oakland possibly packaging up some picks here to try to jump up, or do you see them as more of a stand pat candidate as well?
I could see them do that. I definitely could. I just don't know if they're a quarterback away, you know? It really depends
That's a good point. That's fair.
what happens ahead of them and if teams would be willing to take their offer. Um, I haven't really looked at their roster too much lately, but I would say that it's a possibility, and it's, I I don't know, I'll throw 50-50 out there. It's a coin flip at this point, whether or not they want to move on from Carr and see who they could handle, or not who they could handle, who they could grab in the if they were able to move up top 5.
All right, let's talk about a man we've spent a lot of time talking about in recent weeks, Jameis Winston.
Yay.
Whose nicknames, according to Pro Football Reference, include Famous Jameis or Jabu. Did not know that, and I am so much better for knowing it.
I unfortunately did know that, and I forgot it, and I'm so happy you reminded me that his nickname's Jabu.
Jabu.
Jabuins.
All right, so Jameis Winston just threw 2 more interceptions today, one of which was an OT pick 6 to lose the game against the Falcons in walk-off fashion. And he will now end the season with, and I want to make sure I get this right, 33 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. The NFL's first 30-30 season.
He actually had 40 touchdowns. Only 33 of them were to his own team. Just want to say.
Oh, that's so much worse.
He did set the record for the most pick 6 in a season.
It's just bad. It's just so bad. It's just so bad. It hurts. Corwin, did you think you'd live to see the NFL's first 30-30 season?
I really...
What's more impressive, Ronald Acuna's 30-30 season or Jameis Winston's 30-30 season?
Oh, Jameis Winston's far and away. Because there's been 30-30 seasons in the past in baseball. This is the first one ever in football. I don't remember, honestly, off the top of my head, the last time a quarterback threw 30 interceptions. And I'm assuming Jameis is still leading the league in passing yards.
Yes, by a lot.
He's so fucking crazy to me. Like, he's one of 8 quarterbacks to throw for over 5,000 yards in a season. He threw 30 touchdowns, which is absolutely nothing to scoff at. Yet he still throws the fucking stupidest interceptions. Like, he had a throw today that was just a crossbody, perfect throw into the end zone for Brashad Perriman. Perfect throw. And then throws 2 fucking disgusting interceptions.
How many interceptions do you think Brett Favre threw in his most interception-laden season?
26, I'll say.
29.
Okay.
So even Brett Favre, who was known as a gunslinger and throwing a lot of interceptions, he threw a lot of touchdowns, but he threw a lot of interceptions. So you take the good, you take the bad, you take it all, and then you had the facts of life. He didn't even get to this. Like, that's astonishing.
So can we say that Jameis Winston's better than Brett Favre?
I can say he's certainly worse.
Yeah.
It's just a fucking lot, man.
And I hate how he shows so much promise. And this is his 5th year as a starter. He shows so much promise, and he always has. But it's like there's been almost no improvement in the turnover area, like the turnover department, since he's come into the league at all. I just don't know how he could improve at this point.
Not turning the ball over. That's it.
Right, but I honestly don't even know how he can stop doing that and still continue to like. Sure, he could throw less interceptions, but there's no way he'd be nearly as good of a quarterback, like throwing the ball as he is now. And that's kind of saying something, you know. Like he could play it a lot safer, but he's not throwing for 5,000 yards and 30 touchdowns.
It so I think we talked about this already, but the Buccaneers have already committed to bringing him back for next season.
Yeah.
What on earth do you think that season's going to look like?
I don't know, but it'll be exciting. I mean, they're going to have Mike Evans, they're going to have Chris Godwin back. That should be enough to have a crazy season, right?
I don't even. All right, so hold on real quick.
I don't.
I'm looking at the leader in interceptions year, and wow, his 30s really stands out.
Really?
So the last season with over 30 interceptions. Do you want to guess the year or player?
If you give me the year, I'll try to guess the player.
Okay, the year, the last time a player threw more than 30 interceptions in one season, 1988.
1988.
1980. For reference, just to throw it out there, Ben Roethlisberger led the NFL in interceptions last year with 16.
Wow.
Jameis has
Really?
30. Yes.
Oh,
really?
That's so gross. Oh, man.
So 1988, who do you think it was?
I don't know if I could name a quarterback like outside of the greats in 1988.
It's a player you 100% know, by the way.
John Elway?
Vinny Testaverde.
Oh, I was going to guess Testaverde. I thought it was, oh, fuck.
Vinny Testaverde.
Honest to God, my first guess was like, that sounds like something Vinny Testaverde could do. I just didn't know if he was a full-time starter at that point.
He then led the league in interceptions again the next season with 22.
Oh, Vinny.
Just listen to this. So 1987, Chuck Long of the Detroit Lions leads the league in interceptions, 20. Vinny Testaverde, 35 in 88. 89, Vinny Testaverde again, 22, and then Dan Marino, 22. Just fucking out there. The last time it happened before that, Richard Todd in 1980 for the Jets, 30. Oh, I should mention, Vinny Testaverde in 1988. Want to venture a guess what team he played for?
Miami Dolphins.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I knew it was some team in Florida.
That makes the Tampa Bay Buccaneers the holder of the last two players to throw over 30 interceptions or more.
Do you know how many interceptions Vinny Testaverde threw in his final college game?
Oh, no. This is going to be a big number. Otherwise, you wouldn't bring it up. 5.
It was 5.
Yes.
Against Penn State in the national championship game. 1987 Fiesta Bowl.
Damn. Oh, so 88 was probably his rookie year.
It would have been his second season, I think.
Oh, okay. Just other 30 interception seasons, because I'm just curious. Or at least where the league leader was over 30. Fran Tarkington in 1978. John Haddle in 1932. Sorry, with 32 in 1968 with the San Diego. I don't even know if SD. Oh, just San Diego Padres. Fuck, not the Padres. It's the Chargers. Jim Hart in 1967 through 30 for the St. Louis Rams, I guess. Or the St. Louis Cardinals. They could have been anything, really.
Yeah, why not?
St. Louis Cardinals. It was the St. Louis Cardinals.
Really?
Yeah. George Blanda threw 30 interceptions for Houston in 1965. Al Darrow threw 30 for the New York Titans in 1961. Frank Tripucka threw 34 for Denver in 1960. Sid Luckman threw 31 for Chicago in 1947.
It's
And
weird. Like
that was the first. That was the first 30 interception season.
Sid Luckman.
Sid Luckman's 1947 season.
I mean, there's 3 Hall of Famers right there, like Sid Luckman, Fran Tarkenton, the third Hall of
John
Fame
Haddle?
name. No, the other one.
Aldaro?
No, the other one. The last name of the five.
The last name I read?
5 names, yeah.
Sid Luckman,
Fran Tarkenton and
Frank Tripucka?
nah, whatever. Maybe you only said 4.
George Blanda?
Oh, George Blanda was the one.
Yeah, who played forever, by the way.
Yeah, so it's funny how there's 3 Hall of Fame quarterbacks there who were good enough for, if they throw 30 interceptions, they're still Hall of Fame quarterbacks. You're going to keep them in. I want to know the story of the other 2 guys that honestly just sound like they sucked. And how do they start all season and are able to throw 30 interceptions without getting benched for honestly anyone else?
I do not know. Would you like to venture a guess at who has the most career interceptions?
Oh man. Brett Favre, I guess.
Oh, you know what? I'm looking at defensive interceptions. I want passing interceptions. That's no fun. Yeah, so if for defensive interceptions, it's Paul Krause with 81.
By so many.
Yeah. No, only by 2. Emlyn Tunnell has 79.
Sorry, it's so many by any like active player. Like that's one of those records that will never be broken.
Oh yeah, the first active player on this list. I'm
Richard
scrolling
Sherman,
away.
Who has like 31, 32?
I'm scrolling so much. Oh my god. Richard Sherman and Aqib Talib are tied with 35.
35.
Traymon Williams has 34.
Yeah, that's not a breakable record anytime soon.
I'm going to go with Godno. Wow. Hold on. I need to know who's thrown the most interceptions. All right, I got it. Any guesses? You said Brett Favre?
I said Brett Favre.
It's Brett Favre by a lot.
Yeah.
It's Brett Favre
You had
by
me
60.
second guessing myself when you were like, "Oh, you said Brett Favre." Oh, okay.
Yeah, Brett Favre 336. Second is George Blanda with 277, a colossal drop off. George Blanda, who also played a lot more years. John Haddle 268, Vinny Testaverde 267, and Fran Tarkenton 266. And also, this is just funny. The number of teams each person has played for: Brett Favre 4, George Blanda 4, John Haddle 4, Vinny Testaverde 7, Fran Tarkenton 2. I fucking love Vinny Testaverde.
I don't, because he was kind of a dick against Penn State. Yeah, I mean, there was that whole, they dressed up in camo outfit. They're like, "This is fucking war, dude," and then fucking suck so bad that whatever. But I honestly could say that I would love Vinny Testaverde if it wasn't for that one game, because what a story that is. First overall pick in the draft, Heisman Trophy winner, plays for 7 NFL teams as like the quintessential journeyman quarterback.
Yeah, he really is the standard by which journeyman quarterback are held. I promise to be done after this, but what year do you think was George Blanda's rookie year?
George Blanda?
Yeah.
Is there a Dickety in the number?
A Dickety?
Yeah, like 19 Dickety 3, something like that.
I don't fucking know.
I don't know, 1941.
1949. What year did George Blanda retire?
1971.
1975.
Fuck, damn. What a guy.
26 seasons. 10 in Chicago, 9 in Oakland, 7 in Houston.
Yikes. I think his shortest career stay is longer than the longest in Vinny Testaverde's career.
It's actually tied. Vinny has, I believe, 7 seasons in New York. Yes. So just to emphasize how different eras were, George Blanda, the long-ass career, 26 seasons, career yards, 26,920. Okay, 26,920 yards, 236 passing touchdowns. Vinny Testaverde, he played from 1987 to 2007. Also a very long career, but a full 6 seasons shorter. 46,233 yards.
Little bit of a difference.
Yeah, 20,000 yards more. Interestingly enough, 275 passing touchdowns, which is only 40 more. But yeah,
well,
20,000
George
more
Blanda is a
passing
Hall
yards.
of Fame quarterback, and Vinny Testaverde is very much not even in the Hall of Good.
He's in the Hall of Very Fun.
Yes, that is very true. Ooh,
Vinny Testaverde's
Hall of Fun would be a good episode.
Actually, that would be a good episode.
Players that suck but are just really fun.
Yeah, Jameis Winston.
100%. We could put together like an all-pro team like that.
The all fun team?
All fun team. We're gonna write that one down.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right, that's all I got. We covered a lot of ground here today. We'll do updates as the postseason commences. Of course, the NFL postseason is always fascinating, full of frustration, heartbreak, and nothing that you could possibly predict. That sounds like a promo for it. Promise it was not. If it was, that means we got paid, and we did not. Any final thoughts from you?
Freddie Kitchens, I know you're looking for a job now. If you want to come podcast with us, we could probably find some time in the schedule to squeeze you in. We
can rename it the Kitchen Sink.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Thank you. Definitely are the name of a podcast, but with your prowess, I'm sure we could overtake that podcast, probably existing podcast.
Yeah, or Freddie Kitchens, just stop by.
Say hi. Join in the mayhem. Yep. Well, that's it. Our next podcast will be coming to you.
I guess I don't really
year.
got much else to say.
That's fine, buddy. We're gonna head off into the new year. We'll see all you guys in 2020. Fuck, I almost fucked that shit up. It's only 2 numbers. You want to follow the show on Twitter? You can do so at JuicingPod. You want to hit us up via Gmail? You can do so at juicingthenumbers@gmail.com. And until next time, y'all have a good one.